Welcome to Hobby Clubhouse with a review of the Bandai Mobile Suit Ensemble Gundam F92 L-Type and I-Type set. This is the second F90 set from the Mobile Suit Ensemble line, with the previous one being the F90D Type and the H-Type set. And as of this video, there are still two more sets to come, with the F90V Type and M-Type set, and then the F90A Type and the P-Type set. And in case you're a stranger to the whole line, Mobile Suit Ensemble are Gashapon vending machine figures notable for having standardized 3mm holes all around the MS so you can swap and customize to your liking. But this set and all the other F90 sets are actually not released to retail, and this is a P-Bandai exclusive at 4,620 yen, and it was delivered in Japan in late September 2020. As you can see, this set includes the base F92 along with the two mission packs, the Intercept Type and the Launcher Type. So you can have three different loadouts here right out of the box. The box is properly color printed despite it not being a retail product, and the back side has all the pieces spread out in a studio shot. And there's nothing too notable on the top or any of the sides. Being from a Gashapon line, you'd think there isn't much in the box, but really there's a hefty number of parts inside with it stuffed full of bags. Here are the parts for the F92, which includes the standard MS Ensemble joints, and here are the Intercept Type parts. And then, here are the parts for the Launcher Type. Skipping over about 15 minutes of assembly, here's a look at the assembled F92 base mobile suit. Most of the coloring is properly painted, and you'll recognize who this is at just one glance. Small details like the gray panels on the hip and the yellow vents on the knees make the figure look very complete. Though some fans might find the darker hue of the blue used here to be a departure from the F92's default sky blue, but there may just as well be some who prefer this more serious looking hue. And of course, not all the details are painted in, like the yellow on the shoulder vents and the yellow rims on the shield, along with many other small places. But they're really not too egregious on a tiny figure like this. For weapons, you get the custom beam rifle used by the F90, and a big old 3mm hole punch right through it, which is par for the course for the MS Ensemble line. And then, we have the almost color accurate shield, and mine has a slight imperfection on the blue part there with some crusted paint. And the back of the shield is very detailed, but it's also in all white. Then, you get the removable beam saber handles, which actually have beam parts you can connect, though they're in just plain clear plastic and you'll have to give it a coat of clear blue paint. Other than the weapons, you also get a set of alternate closed fists, which do not come standard with the retail figures. The previous F90 release had them too, and actually even had an open palm, but this fist is still appreciated. Now let's have a quick look at the articulation, which is really the MS Ensemble line's strong suit among similar SD products like the Gashapon Senshi Forte line. From top to bottom, we have a head on a ball joint, but it quickly hits the huge shoulder armors. The shoulder hinge can swing upwards into a shrug, and the whole arm can swing around in a full circle. The chunky elbow does go up 90 degrees, and can even swing backwards too if that's something you like. The joints do have a tendency to nudge itself upwards and out of place when you do move them around, but it's easily fixable. The elbows can rotate along the bicep, though the joints really don't lock as well when you do that. The hip can rotate fully around even though I got the arms caught right here. The legs kick forward, but they quickly hit the front skirt, and the same in the opposite direction. The knees bend something like 45 degrees with the chunky calves quickly getting in the way, and the feet are on a ball joint, so you can adjust your angles a little bit or rotate them along the shin. It's really quite impressive for a tiny figure in SD proportions, and it generally comes standard in the MS Ensemble line. And here's how the F92 looks next to the previously released F90. They share many of their parts, and both have beautifully molded details all around. It's not entirely clear on camera, but the blue hues are ever so slightly different and a little bit less saturated on the F92. But of course you want to see the mission packs too, so we have to strip down the F92 to expose all of the 3mm hard points that we'll need. Now the I-Type doesn't need all the parts removed, but you will need to swap in these specialized shins with pegs on them for the extra armor. It's worth noting that they do include an extra set that's made for the F90, even though the differences between the two are minute. It's a nice extra mile they went, and it shows that they do care about the fans who want the I-Type pack on the old F90. The Intercept Type keeps a stock shoulder armor, and most of the pack is really the flight shield. and you won't mistake it for anything else. And the shield is properly colored and about the same level of coloring detail as the base F92. That is, overall very accurate, but small color highlights like the triangles on the side of the shield tip being white instead of blue. The beam lance here is a bit of a disappointment, with the back end of it basically reduced to a tiny little stub. The clear cone at the front does have a clear blue color, unlike the beam saber blades, and you can actually remove it and swap in this solid black one, which looks a bit more like traditional shot lancers with a physical cone. The blast shield on the side can be swapped to the other side, so the lance is ambidextrous if you want to equip it on another arm. The shield has some big 3mm holes for customization, and the red wings swing out for the Wave Rider mode. There's a little notch for you to grip onto the wings so you can better swing them out into position. To use it in Wave Rider mode, this connection peg needs to be removed. Then you swing the handle out to a suitable angle, and the shield is ready to carry any mobile suit of your choice. Notably, the shield does not extend, which is something the MG kit featured, so the shield will seem a little bit short, but really in SD proportions, it's not that noticeable. So here's the F92 I-Type in its Wave Rider configuration, looking ready for battle. The 3mm holes on the shield means that you can use any action base with it, but the included standard MS Ensemble stand sadly does not terminate in the 3mm peg, so frustratingly it does not work with this, which is odd because both the MG and this share some weird kind of display stand compatibility issue. And here's the I-Type pack on the older F90. The different details on the shins are basically impossible to see, so even though it's really nice of them to have it, it's really not too meaningful. Lastly, there's this clear stand part for the shield which can be useful for some poses. But maybe you're here for the long range type, which is all of this right here, with the long rifle, which really is the name of that long thing, at nearly twice the height of the F92. The long rifle mounts onto the back side of the waist, with the hinge letting it swing inwards and outwards, as well as angling up and down. But you'll soon see this is really sort of meaningless. Then there's a swing out handle for the left hand to hold. And on the back, we have a removable energy pack which we get 3 of in the set. The pieces are all identical and actually will work with the launcher. The backpack here has an eyepiece on it with a nicely made, slightly clear white piece as the visor. The eyepiece can swivel along a peg, but just like the launcher, this will sadly prove to be rather meaningless. And here's a sensor array that goes onto the left shoulder with a clear blue piece with a camera inside, which is excellent. The fins and the antenna are very flexible, so there are no worries that it's gonna break and snap off when you're posing and messing around with it. The right shoulder has a beam saber pack, and there's only the one pair of handles in the box, so you're gonna need to pull them off from the original backpack and put them onto here. But still, it's pretty straightforward. For the arms, we have a pair of missiles which continue the exquisite molded details, and they feature a little bit of color separation with the white and the black, and you get a pair for each of the forearms. So here's the F92 L-Type with the ridiculously long cannon. If anyone's a fan of the old model kit from the 1990s, you'll no doubt love this SD rendition. But I hope you like this pose because that's all you're ever gonna do with it. Let me elaborate. So this eyepiece we saw earlier is hinged and angled, but right away it gets caught by the V-fins. Sure, you'll say, I'll just pull off the V-fins for now. It's SD, I'm not surprised you might say. And then it hits the top of the head, before it gets jammed into the beam saber racks. This is as far as it goes, unfortunately, and the designers then just gave up trying to make it work. What the hell? And what about the big old gun? Well, that's another sad story. You'd think it can swing back into storage mode, and it does. But the butt and the fins of the launcher clip right into the ground. What the hell a second time? Now let's fold it up and oh, okay, the handle gets in the way. What the frickin' hell, Bandai? While we're at it, the swing out handle can't be held. The stubby arms of an SD character just can't reach it no matter what. Well, let's bring this review home with the Hobby Clubhouse 3-point verdict on the Mobile Suit Ensemble Gundam F92 L-Type and I-Type mission pack set. Number 1, the F92 in SD form is a great thing to have. The F90 already has very few products in SD, and the F92 basically had none. This is the only way you're gonna own the F92 outside of the MG kit if you love the mobile suit. The set ain't cheap, but Bandai knows you love the MS, and that love don't come cheap. 2. The I-Type is fantastic. Other than the weird shape of the beam lance's butt, everything else about the I-Type is done well and done with love for the fans. It'll look respectable even next to the mighty MG kit on your shelf. Number 3. The L-Type is a mess. Let's face it, they designed this with functions that we like, such as the articulated eyepiece, and then they hid the fact that it didn't work and they sold it just as is. They coyly avoided ever talking about it, and technically they didn't lie, since we were the fools to see all the hinges and somehow thought that these hinges would actually work. How silly of us, right? It looks nice in one pose, and that's all you're getting, and that's not good enough. But that does it for this review of the F92 set. I talk tough about it, but I really have a soft spot for all things F90, and you bet in the future the other 2 sets will be featured on Hobby Clubhouse as well. Thank you so much for watching. Come hang out with us on social media with updates on upcoming videos, links are in the description below, or hang out here some more with one of these other awesome videos. And before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of new videos from Hobby Clubhouse, and I'll see you next time.